What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to an episode of the Let's Compete Seahawks podcast. I'm Sam. That is Mike. We're pumped today. The draft is in 4 days. The Seahawks will have a top 10 draft pick. At least they're slated to. Real fast before we dive in, we want to thank you guys for 400 subs. We really had a successful stretch going into this draft. We love that you guys love the content. We have a lot of off-season coverage coming up, a lot of kind of workouts and getting some knowledge there. And as we find out more about what the team will look like, and of course, we're going to be breaking down the draft a hell of a lot. And you never know, for those OGs, we might get an interview or two. Maybe. Just fingers crossed.
Been in contact with DK. I don't want to say nothing too crazy.
We've been in contact with John Schneider himself. He is coming on the pod, and he will announce who we're drafting. Yo, Mike, he's coming on the pod live when they get on the clock on Thursday, and he's going to announce the pick.
You know how when they show the camera, they're always like on the phone, bro. He on the phone with us right there, bro. That's him.
Yeah, he's like, so what do you guys think about this? And last year we told him to pick D. Eskridge. We're sorry about that, but
my bad, guys.
Yeah, we're like, Creed Humphrey.
No, we said Creed Humphrey, but it was like a bad phone signal, and you said D. Eskridge?
Yeah, he heard the E.
Yeah,
and he just thought it might have been D, and it's a big mess.
It's all good.
But anyways, we went off on our own and did our own mock drafts through PFF. Obviously, there's a little bit of randomness because you don't know the board. Mike may have gotten the opportunity to pick Sauce Gardner at 9. Well, I may have gotten nobody at 9. So you never know. This is our personal preference mock. On the next and final mock that we do is a realistic Seahawks mock, where we think the Seahawks might go based on the talent that they kind of like and all that. So, Mike, why don't you get started? What did you do at 9? And I'll kind of bounce back with what I did.
All right. So going into this, I kind of had an idea of what I was going to do with pick number 9. I said if one of these kind of 4 or 5 guys wasn't available, that I was going to trade down and get more assets. Okay. Luckily for me, one of those guys that I really like was available at 9, and that was Charles Cross. So I ended up picking Charles Cross at 9. I think, he's one of the best especially pass protecting tackles in this draft. Played in the SEC. We need a tackle, obviously. Pick number 9. And I did explore some trades, but I just didn't think it was worth passing up Charles Cross for maybe some of the other offers we were going to get. So took him at 9. Then I traded pick number 40. Wait do you see what I got for this haul? I got a really good haul for this. I traded pick number 40 to the Dallas Cowboys. In exchange, I got pick 56, pick 88, pick 155, and pick 167. Damn, so I turned pick 40 into a second, a third, and 2 fifths. I think that was a massive W.
Yeah, so let me slow you down because I kind of want to do like pick for pick so we can kind of debate what's going on here. You said that you had the guys that you wanted on the board. I did not. The best player available was Jameson Williams.
Ooh.
I am not picking no Jameson Williams. So I took a trade down. I called up our good friends in Baltimore. And I got pick 14 and pick 45 straight up for pick 9. So you gain a second round pick to drop down 5 spots.
Right.
You have nothing in return. By the way, PFF gave that an A grade. At pick 14, he's a little low on PFF's board, but this guy, I love him a lot. I took Jermaine Johnson at pick 14. In my opinion, best player available. Guy balled out at the Senior Bowl. He was clear that he was probably the best player there. Had 14 sacks in his senior year at Florida State.
Yeah.
This guy's a dog. And, I mean, imagine having DT on one end and you add Jermaine Johnson on that other side. You're going to have 2 physical dogs on that pass rush. So what did you do at 40?
So at 40, I made that trade with the Cowboys. So like I said, I got 56, 88, 155, and 167.
Hell of a trade, by the way.
So what did you do at 40?
At 40, I went best player available again. I took another edge rusher. A surprise. I think this guy was best player available by far, and he has fallen down some boards for a reason that is kind of out of his ability. I took David Ajabo. I thought David Ajabo was too good to pass up at 40. This guy's a first-round pick all day if he doesn't tear his Achilles at his pro day. And he'll probably be healthy in time for at least early in the regular season. But if we're judging on the miracle that Cam Akers had, where he came back in 6 months off of a torn Achilles, which is absolutely miraculous. Ajabo might be able to make September if he can follow through with that regimen. He was my favorite player on the board. I don't think you could ever get enough edge rushers. We have a pretty weak edge rush room at this point. Shore it up for the future. I think this is great value. You get a potential future stud on your team. I think it makes too much sense, especially, Johnson's a bit bigger. He might be able to play inside a little bit, or
Yeah.
Ajabo's fast enough to drop down into a outside linebacker kind of second level guy
Yeah.
if needed. So I love the versatility that you can bring to this defense. That's what I did at 40.
No, I like that a lot. I did at 41, and keep in mind, I was looking at the board at 40, and I said, you know what, I like this one guy, and I don't think that the Cowboys would trade for this one guy, being that they have Michael Parsons. So at 41, I went with Quay Walker. I thought that was
Nice.
a really good pick. I really like
Nice.
Quay Walker. PFF graded it as a C plus. I would be very happy if the Seahawks took Quay Walker at 41.
Yeah, they don't really
Um,
have a linebacker is a huge need for us. I don't know why,
I
but
don't know why either. It
yeah,
was arguably a need last year with Bobby there too. So I don't know, but I
yeah,
think Quay Walker was a good move right there. So that's what I
that's
did at
a
41.
hell of a pick.
Yeah,
At 41, I looked less. I looked at the top of the board and a guy who was sliding and a guy who's been jumping up boards for a while. This is a guy who would more so fill a need that might fill in on the future job, and a guy who might be able to step in next year, looking into our future plans. Mike, you know that I'm going to be a little biased towards this guy. I got Travis Jones out of
I knew
UConn.
it was coming. I knew it was coming. He was
Listen, the 27th best player according to PFF. He dropped down to 41. When you look at what this D line group is going to look like next year, you're losing. You could lose Puna Ford. You could lose Al Woods.
yeah
You need to shore up that room. And Travis Jones is a guy who, unlike Al Woods and Puna, has pass rush upside in the middle and will absolutely eat up blocks. I think
yeah
this guy is super talented, super strong, super physical. He's really just like a bear in that middle. I think that this guy could be dominant given the right coaching, and with Clint Hurt commanding that. I mean, have you seen what Clint Hurt looks like? That
yeah
guy is going to get
yeah.
him straight. So
hmm
I took Travis Jones at 41. What was next for you?
I don't hate Travis Jones at all. My next pick was 56 that I got from the Dallas Cowboys. And then I kind of had the same thought process as you earlier in the draft, where I was like, we really need edge. I like this guy a lot. He's been mocked to us. I think we've picked this guy in almost every single mock draft. Nick Bonito,
Yeah,
edge out of Oklahoma. PFF grade that gave that an A plus grade. Rated as their 38th best player. I got him at 56, so really good value if you look at it like that. I think this is a guy. He's gonna have an opportunity to come in and start right away. You were just talking about Jermaine Johnson, how you think he could start opposite of Darrell Taylor. I think Nick Benito could be the same thing. I like the value here a little bit more of getting him at 56 than I would have. I considered him at 40, 41, but I wanted to wait, see if he was there, knowing that I had, pick 56 in my back pocket. He fell. I was very happy about that. So we got a guy to shore up the pass rush just a little bit.
I like that a lot. I like Nick Benito. I think that he's fast. He's athletic. He could be a dominant pass rusher.
Yeah. Two
Given, yeah,
two
if he
fast,
can,
athletic pass rushers with him and Darrell Taylor. Yeah.
yeah, he also possesses some sneaky power on film. So that's always great.
hmm
At 45, this is the pick that I got with the Baltimore Ravens in that trade down the first round. There was a quarterback that was kind of standing out to me. I took Desmond Ritter at pick 45.
Ooh,
I wanted to
okay.
trade down and pick Matt Corral. Desmond Ritter and Matt Corral were on the board at 41. I knew that I had to pick at 45. So I was thinking I'm going to wait and not pick Corral because I feel like Corral has more long-term upside. I mean, I feel like Ritter is a better quarterback now and is higher ranked on my board because he has a highest floor, in my opinion, of any quarterback in the draft.
Yeah.
I thought Corral would possess more long-term upside. Corral was taken by Washington in between
That
that. So
that doesn't surprise me at all, to be honest. I
so
wouldn't be shocked by that.
I went out and I got Desmond Ritter. I'm just as happy with it. This is a guy who could come in and could win the job if he really came in right away.
Yeah.
So I love, and PFF gave that an A plus grade. I really love what I did there. So I'm like, what do you kind of do falling back into the third round? What's next for you?
So then I had pick 72 from oh no, that's our pick. We have pick 72. And I'm looking at again positions of need. I'm thinking corner. And I was very lucky this guy was still on the board because after him there was a significant drop off, I think, in the corner talent. I took Marcus Jones out of Houston with pick 72, ranked as the 69th best player by PFF. First of all, nice. Second of all, It's good little value there. Like I said, I think the talent after him was a big drop off. Gets another position of need out of the way. I mean, if you look at my first four picks, this was on purpose. Tackle, linebacker, edge, and corner. Those are arguably our top four needs as a
Hmm.
team. And if you count my next pick, you could say that's a top five. So, yeah, I went with Marcus Jones here. I thought that was a pretty solid pick right there at 72.
Well, Mike, I was thinking along the same lines of the need here. I was thinking corner as well.
Mhm.
However, I had to trade back first. I took pick 72, sent it to Cleveland for 78, 118, and 223.
Okay.
Got a B grade from PFF on that one.
Okay.
I dropped down to 78, and I took a reach on a guy that I felt was the best corner on the board, and he's kind of a little bit disrespected by PFF. I took Kobe Bryant at
Ooh,
pick 78.
I like Kobe Bryant, man. You know I love Kobe
Yeah,
Bryant.
I think that when you have Sauce Gardner on the other side, teams are not going to be throwing the ball at you that much. No, teams are going to be not going to be throwing the ball at Sauce Gardner
Yeah, they're gonna target you
that
more
much.
so.
You're going to get more of the targets.
Right.
Man had an 87 grade. I mean, the guy was solid.
Mm-hmm.
This is like you brought up the Antonio Cromartie comparison. Nobody was throwing at Darrelle Revis.
Mm-mm.
Unless if
No.
you're Tom Brady throwing to Randy Moss, nobody was throwing at Darrelle
Honestly,
Revis.
if you want to put it in terms of the Seahawks, this is like a Byron Maxwell type thing. Obviously, I
Mhm.
think Antonio Cromartie is a little better, but I mean, Byron Maxwell is the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's what I did at 78. I took a reach,
I
but
like I like Kobe
I
Bryant.
think he's the best corner on the board at that point.
What did PFF grade that pick? Probably not
I
very
got
high.
I got an F.
Yeah, I was gonna say they probably didn't like that
Yeah.
pick, but I like that pick. For what it's worth, Sam, those nerds don't know nothing. I
Yeah.
like it.
On other big boards, he's like in the 90s.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's kind of whatever you
So
think.
so with my next pick, which was pick 88 from the Cowboys, I again, like I was saying, I kind of went along our positions of need, and being that we just traded Russell Wilson, we have a pretty big hole at quarterback. Now this is a pick to me where it's not like a this is the franchise. This is like a hey, we try him out. If he works, he works. If not, who cares? We could draft next year. I took Carson Strong at pick 88.
Ooh.
Um, you know what I
Ooh.
mean? Again, it's a pick where it's not high enough of a pick where it's like you don't want to just blow it and waste it, but it's not low enough to where, it's like it's not like a just throw away whatever. It's like we're getting a legit prospect here, but if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's a third round pick. Um, Again, I just got this from a trade, so it's kind of house money, if you will. So PFF really liked it. They have him as ranked 68th prospect, which I took 68 and 69 prospects. I didn't realize that. And then I got him 88th overall. So I thought that was pretty solid get.
I mean, yeah, I love his talent. His talent jumps off. Still worry about that personality, which
True,
everybody's talking about Kayvon Thibodeau's personality. I've heard worse things about Carson Strong's
true.
personality. So got to see how that's going to age. But yeah, I mean, I love his talent. I think he has an explosive talent. Now moving down to 109 for me in the fourth round. This is our pick that we had. I felt like tackle was a big need at this spot. I took Kellen Dyche, Arizona State tackle, ranked 77th. I got him at 109. This dude is 6'7". He's a big boy. He's
Yep.
a big man. And of course, that Pac-12 pick. You know that John and Pete love those Pac-12 picks, but I think this guy's a legitimate player. I think he's got talent. This guy's blocking Kayvon Thibodeau. He's not playing scummy talent. This is a
Yeah.
guy who's playing. While it might be the worst Big Five, Power Five conference, I think that he still played obviously legitimate talent, and I think that this is a guy who could sure up. I took a little bit of a heads up. I took 3 tackles in this year's
Mhm.
draft because I feel like tackle is that big of a need for us. So yeah, that's what I did at 109. Mike, what did you do down the board?
I really considered him at 109 as well. However, having taken Charles Cross, I
Yeah.
figured we could go after another position of need, which was center. So I took Luke Fortner out of
Mhm.
Kentucky. We take him a lot too in our mock drafts. I think, SEC center, he's legit. I think, getting him in the fourth round to kind of secure that center spot would be awesome. He's ranked as the number 105 player on PFF's big board. I took him at 109. Pretty good value there.
Mm.
Kind of had the same thought process as you, but like I said, I already took Charles Cross, so I wanted to get as much value as I possibly could. So I took Luke Fortner at 109.
I like that pick. I do like
Yeah.
that pick. I like Fortner a lot. Battle tested. It's always valuable. moving down the board here, I'm now at 118. This is the pick I got with the Browns to move back 6 spots from 72 to 78. I took a trade with Green Bay. I moved to. I did not really like where I was at with this pick. I did not like the talent on the board for where I was at. So I dropped down from 118. I give 118. The Packers give me 132 and 171 in this
Okay.
year's draft. I got a solid B grade from that from PFF. At 132, I decided that corner was still in need. Outside corner still in need. I went on and took Kalen Burns,
Ooh, I like that.
corner out of Baylor. This guy's been shooting up draft boards for one reason: 4.23. This guy ran a
Yep.
4.23 40. He's explosive, but he's also got length. He's 6'1". This is a guy who's big and he's fast. And Pete and John love their big and fast corners. So I mean, if you could get a guy like this in the fourth round, it's not a huge risk to
Mm-mm.
go ahead and say this guy has the measurables to be a great player. I feel like this is what you really should be picking when you get to the fourth round, guys who have potential to
Yeah.
be great players, not necessarily guys that are already solid players but have low upside.
Right.
I took Kalen Barnes, assuming that this guy could develop into a serious stud corner, considering his speed, considering his size, considering all that.
No, I really like that pick. I mean, that's exactly what happened with, Richard Sherman way back in the day. He was a 5th round pick from Stanford, picked for potential. He's long, he was fast. So I really like that pick right there.
Yeah.
Coming up with me, I ended up having, and I didn't do this purposely, but I ended up having 3 and 4 picks. So I ended up having 152, 153, and 155. So I'm going to go for this turn. I'm just going to go with 152 and 153 right here. So at 152, I decided that there was a guy that I really liked. It didn't necessarily match a position of need. However, I feel like this is not necessarily a position we have locked down. And I think it could be something that could make our offense way more explosive. So I took Pure Strong Jr. at pick 152.
Ooh.
I really like him. I
want to
think
talk about speed.
Yeah, you want to talk about speed. I think he can make our offense electric. And, let's be real. Pete wants to run the ball. So this can make the offense more exciting. I love Rashad Penny, but he hasn't proven that he can stay healthy for a whole year. We still don't know what's going on with Chris Carson. So while I wouldn't say it's a huge need, running back isn't exactly locked down right now for the Seahawks. So I would take Pierre Strong here. He's ranked as a 135th overall prospect. I took him at 152, pretty good value according to PFF. So that's what I did there. And then at 153, I went more back into need, and I kind of took a guy. And I'm not going to say that I regretted this pick, but I kind of wish that I had gotten a little bit more value here in the 5th round. I ended up taking Isaiah Thomas, edge from Oklahoma.
Okay.
Pick gave me a D+, which was my second lowest grade of the night after the pick I am going to do next. So that was great. But I think Isaiah Thomas, he's an edge rusher. Like you said earlier, you can't have too many good edge rushers. If you find one of these guys that's a stud in the late rounds, I mean, that's totally worth it. So I ended up taking Pierre Strong at 152 and then Isaiah Thomas at 153.
I like both of those players, actually. I especially like Strong, considering what he could add to this offense, what he could add as a receiver, as a pure runner.
Yeah.
So I'll do my 152 and 153. At 152, I took guard out of Ohio State, Thayer Munford. The Seahawks met with this guy pre-draft. I think that O-line is a general need. You could try to play him at center. If not, you have a great reserve piece who played in the Big Ten and probably could step in and play good football if needed.
Yeah.
Damian Lewis has been a bit fragile. So you always want to be careful there. Go ahead, get a backup guard. I would try to play him at center. Even give him some tackle reps. Move him around. Try to find what position fits him best. Big Ten battle tested. At 153, once again, I kind of looked into the future for this one. I felt that Chris Carson is. I love a good. And when you talk about backfield, I love a good thunder and lightning pair. I love a guy who could break out for the big play, but a guy who could chug.
USC with Reggie Bush and Lendell White, yeah.
Yeah, but I also love a guy who could chug for those 5, 6, 7 yards after contact. Rashad Penny, I think, is fine. Chris Carson, neck injury, you got to be a little careful there.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the greatest division in football to get a Grady back. I got Brian Robinson Jr. out of the University of Alabama. Mike, I know that you're making that face. I like how this dude runs the football. I really do. I think he's a powerful, strong runner. and he's thickly built. He just bounces off tacklers, and I think that this guy has the talent to step in. And if you need those extra yards, put in this like what 6'1", 6'2" running back who's just
Yeah.
physical as all hell.
Yes.
I think this is a Pete Carroll pick right here. This is a
I totally agree with you that it is a Pete Carroll pick, and I do agree too that I think his physicality is very, very good. The reason I maybe made that face, and I'm not the biggest Brian Robinson fan, however, it might be a bit of unfair of me to say that because having watched Alabama for so long, it's very obvious that there was a big drop off when Najee Harris left from Brian Robinson to being the full time back.
yeah.
Um, he didn't have the I guess playmaking ability that Najee had.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
why I'm saying that,
yeah,
thunder and
but
lightning,
you're right. But fifth round pick for a physical running back. I mean, I don't think that's nowhere near the worst pick in the world. Um, but I just think of all the Alabama running backs that have come out recently, Brian Robinson isn't exactly one of my favorites.
this guy, he's not a workhorse, but he's a guy who is going to be a great situational football player. He's going
Yeah,
to be a
yeah.
guy who you bring in on those third and short situations where he can
A-
just ground and
And
pound.
to his credit, he did do it all that out. But that's what they ask of their running backs. You got to block, you have to catch passes, you got to carry the tote. Obviously, I believe his best game of the year last year was against Florida. I mean, he really had a good game against Florida. I think he had like
Mhm.
3 or 4 touchdowns. A lot of them were short yard situations. So I
Yeah.
really like that in terms of value. But for me at 155, I wanted to get another tackle because I felt we got to get some tackles in here. And this pick was ranked as a D minus. I don't necessarily see the reason for that, but I can understand maybe it's a little bit of a reach, but I love Chris Paul, back to back
Hmm.
NBA players. I wanted to get a tackle, a guy I really like. I think he can come in and get some good reps there. I think we could probably put him at right tackle eventually. So, again, late fifth round pick, not a guy you're expecting to be an all pro, but I think this guy's got potential and it fills a position of need. So that's why I went with that pick.
Solid pick. Solid
Mhm.
pick. I do like Chris Paul. He's athletic. He does have that upside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Played next to blanking on his name, but Smith. Played next to Smith, and
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I like it's a late at night, so I'm a little foggy, but
It's all good, bro.
I
It's
do
all
like
good.
Smith. At 171, I took a tackle out of San Diego State, Zachary Thomas. This guy,
Mhm.
143 on PFF Big Board, took him at 171. This guy had really solid grade, played every single snap at left tackle last year. We're thin, man, at tackle. We're so thin, and
Yeah.
we have not done a thing about it, which
Scary. Scary.
to me, hints at what we want to do in this draft. I'm just gonna say it.
I think we're gonna
But
be tackle heavy this draft.
But, you know, I like this pick. I like the upside that it brings, Also, getting an SDSU guy will probably, it won't hurt Rashad
Hey,
Penny's day.
listen,
So,
I was gonna say the last time we took an SDSU guy, we took the greatest player of all time. So
the greatest player, the greatest athlete ever,
the greatest athlete ever.
just
Period.
all of sports. So
Right.
that's who I have at 171. After this, I just got a few round 7 picks. So
All right.
let's get to the final stretch of this mock.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. At pick 167, again, I wanted to fill up some depth pieces. I think linebacker is an important position at depth, so I went with Micah McFadden out of Indiana. Pretty
Ooh,
good value, 164, 167
yeah.
was where I took him. So I think that's a guy that could just fill up some depth, help a position of need. Not expecting this guy to be a day one starter, but at worst case scenario, he could be a solid contributor on special teams or whatever.
Yeah, of course. Linebackers. I mean, Ben Burke-Irvin has been an ace special
Right,
teamer,
right,
and
absolutely.
we picked
That's
him in
kind
the
of what I
top
was thinking of.
50.
Yeah, hundred
So
percent.
and also Cody Barton too. At 223, I went linebacker as well. This is this is not our pick. I got this pick from the Browns trade earlier.
Hmm.
Jack Sanborn, the linebacker out of Wisconsin. This guy did not get a whole lot of reps, but he had a very good grade when he did. Had about an 88 grade for PFF when he did play last year. So I like the pick. I like the value. He played at Wisconsin. Guys in the Big Ten are usually very pro ready when they come out, and that's what makes them
Hmm.
different from a lot of teams. Because even in the SEC, you're going to get raw guys. Usually in the Big Ten, especially for these like Iowa teams, these Wisconsin teams are going to be very pro ready. And I'm actually just going to hammer out this last pick here because this is another pick that's very near and dear to my heart. Let me get UConn tackle Ryan Vandemark. This guy at 229, I do not see the hurt in this at all. Had a monster pro day. This guy tested very well. At 229, there's really no harm in picking a tackle who has athletic upside. That's going to round out my draft. 3 tackles, a little bit
I've got
heavy,
one more
but,
pick.
yeah.
I got one more pick at 229. Similarly to what your thought process was earlier on Travis Jones, I thought, hey, I think the guys up front could use some help. Poona Ford maybe is not going to be a Seahawk next year. Al Wood's getting a little old. I took Noah Ellis out of Idaho. I think
Idaho.
What?
Idaho.
I went a whole video without doing some dumb shit like that, and then of course on the last guys Idaho.
Idaho, out of Noah Ellis, out of Idaho.
Noah Ellis out of Idaho. But yeah, just a guy to plug up the middle, big body, eat some blocks. So I like it. I think it's a solid pick at 229.
So, Mike, we're gonna grade each other's drafts here. From what we heard, I like your draft. I'm gonna give it if we had this draft in real life, I would give it a B+.
I would be very pleased if the Seahawks did this.
Mostly because of Charles Cross at 9.
True.
I love Charles Cross. I think he's the 3rd best tackle in the class, but that's because he's behind Ike Ekwonu and Evan Neal. So
I can make a case that he's number 2. I think Evan Neal's 1. I think
you could argue that he's better than Ekwonu. For sure. I think he's a bit more complete of a player. You could argue that tackles in a Mike Leach system may not age very well, but I think he's better than Andre Dillard, so I'm not gonna make that argument. Mike, what would you give my mock?
I really liked your mock draft. I like the trades that you made. I like some of the guys. I really love the Kobe Bryant pick. That was probably my favorite pick of yours, which was ironically PFF's least favorite pick of yours.
Yeah.
But I'm high on Kobe Bryant, so I really liked it. We both, I think, kind of had a similar thought process where it was like, listen, we like certain guys. We have certain positions that we're looking for. If not, we're going to trade down. We're going to get value. You made 2 or 3 trades, I think.
I think I made 3 trades.
Yeah, you made 3 trades. I made one kind of big trade. I got 4 picks for just 1 pick. So we kind of had a similar thought process there. And I think for you, like you said, if Charles Cross was there for you at 9, you would have taken Charles Cross too. So that was just kind of me getting lucky with the mock draft. But no, I really like yours. I'll give yours like a B+. I think I'd be happy if the Seahawks did either one of ours. They won't, of course. They absolutely will not do that.
Yeah. However, that's why you guys got to tune in for the next mock, because we're going to be doing a realistic Seahawks mock draft. And it's going to be an unhappy day because we're going to be Trevor Penning at 21.
Josh Jobe at 41.
Yeah, Josh Jobe at 40. Brian Robinson at 40. So it's gonna be great. So
it's funny. It's so funny. Just really quick before you end it, it's so funny you talking about like UConn players. You're like, oh, this guy's so good, blah 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 blah. And then I'm talking about Alabama players. I'm like, those guys dog ass.
Well, no. Listen, Ryan Vandermark is very incomplete. He was bad last year, but he's very raw and he has athletic upside. I love Travis Jones though. Travis Jones is like my favorite. Is like one of my favorite players in the draft.
Yeah,
just
I know.
Talent wise,
I know you're gonna be so happy if we take Travis Jones.
Dude, if we take Travis Jones at 40,
we take him. Yeah,
I'm gonna. Oh man. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up. We appreciate you guys for watching. We're coming to the end of draft season. Subscribe as always, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment with your thoughts. We'll see you in the next video. Peace out.